and gentlemen, welcome to my Week 12 NFL Power... Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my 11th... Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my Week... I can't do it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my Week 11 NFL Power Rankings. I don't know if I'm going to include all that. I literally took me like a minute to just give that intro. I'm having a bad day so far. Anyway, yes, I'm going to be officially giving my NFL Power Rankings today before we kick off the new week. Couple of plugs as always. Don't forget to check out G Fuel. Don't forget to check out Waggle, who is having a Black Friday sale right now, 30% off everything. And if you hit the link in my description, it'll even bring you to a page of my top Waggle products out right now. And last but not least, don't forget to use code WyattzWorld at sign up on Prize Picks, where you can guarantee yourself to win a free $50 with your first $5 entry. But that's all I got for plugs today. Let's get into my power rankings. Okay, folks, so here we are at the tier list, starting from the bottom, working our way to the top. I would just like to reiterate one time before we go into it that everybody has their own opinion. We can disagree and still be friends. It's okay. So, starting off right now, worst team in the NFL is the Tennessee Titans at number 32. I mean, let's be honest right now. If it wasn't for the Cardinals, awful collapse that 1 week, this team would be winless right now. They would be 0-9. They have scored 130 points through 10 weeks of NFL football, and they've allowed 257. This is one of those teams that, they were supposed to be better going into this year, and they absolutely look worse. Moving on to 31, give me the New York Jets. I know they've rallied for their last 2 wins, but their defense is depleted after the trade deadline. Their offense is horrible since they have a quarterback who throws for 50 yards a game. And your best receiver right now is also not going to be playing once again in Garrett Wilson. Not that he helped last week, he hung a goose egg for me, but this team sucks. Also, did you guys see the prop for Justin Fields throwing tomorrow? It's like 130 yards. Are you kidding me? 30, give me the Saints. Saints are another team that's allowed 100 more points than they have scored this year. Their record's terrible. Their season's pretty much in the gutter, but unlike the Jets, unlike the Titans, the Saints actually do have an offense. Even after trading Rashid Shaheed, they still have an offense. They still have talent. It's just not only are the quarterbacks themselves, inconsistent with who's been playing because, they kind of switched to Shuck after halfway through, but the actual performances of those quarterbacks are also wildly hit or miss. 29, give me the Browns. It's gonna be too high for some people, but they still do have an electric defense. I mean, their defense isn't the one who allowed special teams to completely skin them alive last week. Their offense, on the other hand, it's pretty poor. I mean, they do have Judkins. I think Fannin will be a great asset, but again, I think the quarterback play is inconsistent there. I think the game plan itself is inconsistent there. And I do think that shows, considering they have scored the 3rd fewest points in the NFL so far. After the Browns, give me the Bengals, another team that has a pretty damn good offense, but they don't have a defense to show for it. You can't play football with half a team. It doesn't work. Also, I really do think that Zach Taylor needs to go. I've been saying this for 3 years now. I feel like this is Marvin Lewis almost all over again. They're just riding on a coach who, got to the Super Bowl. I know Marvin, he was 0-7 in the playoffs, but they have this mentality that, if this guy could get us there before, he'll get us there again. I really don't think he's going to. Now moving on to 27, this could shock some people, but I actually got the Raiders. I don't think their team is as bad as their record shows. I like some of their offensive talents like Genty and Bowers, but their defense is honestly statistically pretty stable. They're 13th overall. They've been decent against the pass. They've been decent against the run. I just think this team's inability to score points, which I widely blame on Geno Smith for the start of the season, is what is holding them back right now. And I don't think Pete is doing a great job either, but he is not in charge of a blind quarterback. Now moving on to 26, give me the Giants. Honestly, I know that they could be lower now, especially due to their record and with Dart being out, but this team has an offense. Even without Malik Neighbors, even without Cam, this team can still score points, and that was widely because of Jackson Dart. The Giants have outscored the Packers, the Vikings, the Bengals on the season even. The Bengals, I know they're bad, but that's all that team does is score points. They're 1 point behind the Eagles and 3 points behind Tampa. Yeah, it has not been that great of a season for them, but for one, when healthy, this team ain't that bad, and for two, we're about to see what they do with a new head coach because Brian Daboll is gone. Now moving on to 25, give me Arizona. I really gain nothing from this team. I get nothing from them. I think they're the same shitty, lackluster organization they've been for years. However, the one benefit of the doubt I will give them is they've only gotten blown out 1 time this year, and the rest of their losses are by 1 score. So they can play, they have grit, they just don't have the talent to win, especially when the team is as banged up as they are right now. Now moving on to 24, we have Washington, and I will be honest, that's too high. The only reason they're up here is because I know that if they had had Terry and they had Jaden, they would be much better. They would be in a much better spot. But even with those two, that would not affect the defense right now, which has the worst pass defense in the fucking league and the 4th worst rush defense. Like, this team is kind of like the Bengals, man. They can't stop nothing. Any points they score, they just immediately give up right after. Right now, they are very much like Arizona in the aspect that just from watching the Commanders, I gain nothing. 23, give me Miami. Gotta give credit where it's due. They've been playing better football. Now, with that being said, they're still inconsistent. I mean, they waxed the Falcons, got destroyed by the Ravens, and then beat the fuck out of the Bills. I don't even know what kind of roller coaster they're riding on, but it's a hell of a lot better than the one they were at the first 5 weeks of the season. I'll tell you that. 22, give me Carolina, and geez, this was a tough one. They're fighting to hang on to that spot, and it's crazy because they have a decent record. They're 5-5. But again, this team and Bryce Young in general, they're too inconsistent for me. And that goes by the drive, not even by the game. One drive they'll go out there and they'll look like they're a competent football team, and then the next drive they'll go out there and have the stupidest turnover you've ever seen. Or they'll have the most lackluster set of plays you've ever seen that just gets them off the field in a 3-and-out. And now we are moving on to Atlanta. I know, people of Carolina, what the hell? They're 3-6. You're not gonna like to hear this, but they are a better team than you guys. They're just stupider. I mean, dude, they have the best secondary in football, but almost the worst run defense. How the fuck is that even possible? I mean, if it wasn't for a kicker, I think you guys would have, what, at least one more win, maybe 2 more on the season? I don't like the Falcons, but they're also not that bad of a team. Now, moving on to 20, we have Dallas, and I mean, it's been the same story for them as it's been all year. They can score points at will, but they allow them like it's the objective of the game. Hopefully, Quinnen Williams is going to provide a lot of help to that. Also, Logan Wilson, you can't forget him. And the thing about those two that they can also provide help with, which is something Dallas needs, is stopping the fucking run. They have been pathetic at that over the last couple of years, and that's something Dallas used to specialize in. They used to always have a great front. Now, moving on to 19, give me the Minnesota Vikings, another team that I just get nothing from. I gain nothing. They've had 4 wins this year, and honestly, I think I can only remember fucking 2 of them. That's how insignificant they've been. And trying to act like Brian Flores is elite right now is the biggest joke ever. He's gotten his ass handed to him the last 4 games. Like, our quarterback play right now is one of the worst I've ever seen. We have constant injuries. Kevin O'Connell's play calling is becoming more and more predictable by the week. Now, moving on to 18, give me Jacksonville. Yeah, they had a rough loss. Yeah, they've had a couple rough losses, but they've also had some really nice wins. They've had some really nice games this season. They've beaten San Francisco. They've beaten the Chiefs. They held Seattle to 20 points. Another thing about these guys is they have grit. No matter how shitty or broken your offense is, they get down there and they score points. 17, give me Dub Bears. Look, there is something to be said about the teams that they have beaten, but there's also something to be said about the fact that they have won 6 of their last 7. This team also holds the number 3 offense in football right now. Talk about Ben Johnson making the impact he was supposed to do. Yes, they have their flaws. Yes, they make mistakes that seem to make every single game close at some point, even when they shouldn't be. But right now, as of this moment, they are a winning organization, and right now they are on pace to make the playoffs. 16, we have Pittsburgh. They are Pittsburgh. They are always 15 or 16 because they don't change. It's not a joke at this point. It's the truth. Moving on, we have 15 with the Baltimore Ravens. They are soaring back into the top half of the league after getting Lamar Jackson back. I mean, it's no secret he elevates that team into a playoff team, and without him, well, they're pretty much the Bengals, except they can't score. Now, 14, we have the Green Bay Packers. This team has been soaring its way into the bottom half of the league. They've looked pathetic. They've dropped the last 2 games, one to the Panthers, one to the Eagles, only scoring 7 points against the Eagles. And earlier on in the season, they had an embarrassing loss to the Browns after starting off, so good. I mean, the coaching here has been bad. The play calling has been bad. The quarterback play has been bad. I honestly feel like the Chicago Bears are like the Space Jam aliens, and they just stole all of Green Bay's talent and replaced it with their own. 13, give me the Texans. It's just a strong team. No way around it, man. They've got a strong elite defense, and they have an offense that if they could just remain healthy, I think would make this a top 10 team in the league right now. I mean, dude, you had Nico being injured. You had CJ being injured. We've had Joe Mixon out the entire year. Tank Dell out the entire year. This team started off like 0-3. Now they're 4-5, charging their way up the division. 12, I'll take San Francisco still. Dude, this team is 6-4 right now, and they are beaten and battered. If you looked at their injury report, it's longer than a fucking telephone book page. Yet they are still as resilient as they always have been. Also, it's insane when Christian McCaffrey has been your healthiest player this year. Moving on to 11, we have the Chargers. They bounced back pretty nice recently. 3 straight wins, all over 25 points scored. Yeah, they had a little bit of a slump there towards the start of the season, but this team remains at the top of the league right now with one of the best offenses, one of the best records, and also the 4th overall defense in terms of yards allowed per game. Number 10, give me the Bills, barely. Awful coaching, inconsistent defense. Offensive weapons are lackluster outside of James Cook and Dalton Kincaid, who is now injured. Like, I won't even shit you. This team is in a very bad spot right now. A very, very ugly spot to be in. Right now, I have the cap to the alarm flipped up. We lose this week, I'm fucking sounding it. Moving on to 9, we have the Broncos. You're just lucky I'm so salty with the Bills right now because I'm real salty and disgusted with you guys too. I think your offense is a fucking joke, if I have to be honest. Great defense, everybody knows that. That's why you hang in the games long enough for your offense to finally do something. But it seems like every week you guys will spend 3/4 of the game literally playing with yourselves in a corner and then deciding to go, oh yeah, we should probably go out there and try to score some points. Moving on to 8, we have the Chiefs. So how do you have them above the Broncos and the Chargers? They have a worse record. Oh! Realize Kansas City has scored the same amount of points as 8-2 Denver has, right? And that's playing a game less than them. They also have the 5th best secondary in the league. And yeah, they lost to the Bills. It's a good team losing to a good team. But the change that we have seen out of these guys since Rashee Rice came back, I mean, it's through the roof. Their offense is looking complete again. Patrick Mahomes playing like an MVP. We'll see if I'm wrong this week, but I have the Chiefs higher than the Broncos and the Chargers because I think they're a better team. I think the Chiefs would beat both of them right now. 7, give me the Bucks, one of the league's best and one of the league's most hurt. Mike Evans, Bucky Irving, Chris Godwin, Kalijah Cansey. Yet they're still in first place of their division with a commanding lead, I would say, even though it's 1 game over Carolina. They ain't gonna catch them. And again, it's just another team that shows how resilient they are. 6, we got New England. Fuck off. 5, we have Philly. Like I've said before, they have the most impressive resume this year in terms of who they have defeated. And it's still getting harder for them. They might be boring. They might use the same fucking 4 moves of doom over and over again. But when they're 7-2, winning when it matters, like, what the hell are you gonna say? 4, give me the Colts. One of the best teams in football right now. One of the most complete teams in football right now. The best offense in football right now. Now, I know defense been a little suspect. Danny has been a little suspect more recently. But when you can just hand the ball off to a fucking rhinoceros 35 times a game, like, bro, you're fine. Like, you're gonna be okay. Your quarterback can afford to mess up. You can't let 2 bad weeks weigh down the 8 magnificent ones they've thrown out. This team has by far been my biggest shock of the year. Moving on to 3, we have Detroit. I have really nothing negative to say about them. I think they're beginning to become a very complete football team, more than they have been in recent years. I think their offense is playing excellent. Matter of fact, other than the Colts, who, by the way, are over 300 points scored this year, Detroit sits in second at 283. Defense is getting better, and their offense is just as big of a savage as it always has been. And then moving on to the final 2, we have the Rams at 1 and Seattle at 2. And you can interchange these. There is no wrong answer. The only reason I have the Rams at 1 right now is because I think their offense looks a little bit more indestructible than Seattle's, which is insane to say. I mean, these 2 teams are so close to being identical. So close. And I'm talking statistically, like I mentioned yesterday, man. Defense is very close. Offense is very close. But when I look at the Rams, I'm seeing a quarterback who in his last 6 games has thrown 20 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. And no offense to Seattle either. Their offense is loaded, but I think the Rams are just, they have a better offense as well when it comes to talent. They have a better 1-2 punch at receiver. I think they have more of a consistent running game right now than Seattle has. I am very excited for the game this week, but as of right now, the Rams are sitting at the top of my mountain. And that is going to do it, ladies and gentlemen, for my Week 11 NFL Power Ranking. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, as always, feel free to show support because you know I appreciate any and all help. In the meantime, though, I'm going to get this whipped up so you guys can watch it on time. I hope you guys all have a great rest of your Thursday, and I will see you in the next upload.